And we're back. So I want you guys to test yourself right now. Raise your hand if you thought the market was going to be down today. We had a blow off top on Thursday. Uh, some real selling. I guess you could call it real selling. I'll explain why it was bullshit in a second. But normally, when you have a blow off top Thursday, you do have a follow through Thursday. Usually you sell off for 3 days. Weak Thursday, sell off Friday. More often than not, that means the percentages are over 50%. Let's put it at 65% of the time. Let's go crazy. Let's say 70% of the time. But in the market that we're in right now, everything that you think is wrong because we never go down. So you got to start factoring in that Friday sell-off, which let me explain why it was bullshit. It was based on a moment, right? Suddenly we cared about tariffs again. Nobody cares about tariffs. It's all factored in, it's all priced in. Then we cared about the jobs report. Nobody cares about the jobs report. Nobody. They did a deep dive analysis into it. Oh, this means that. No, none of that means anything. We're in a bull market. When a sell off's real, there won't be a name for it. When people say, hey, why'd the market go down today? Because it did. That is an organic sell off. That's when you take it serious, right? And again, the VIX products did spike. You had your moment, and your moment's over. Now you got to start factoring in that Friday's lows are now new generational lows, and it began another new bull market. Not as powerful as what we witnessed on May 12th in the power gap, but if you think that Friday was significant, good for you. You're wrong. But what you can do, right, is use Friday's lows and do what I do. You guys have these things in your house? I still got from grade school and high school. Oh, wait, no, I don't know where I put them. Somewhere. Somebody's screwing around my drawers. Post-it notes. When I began as a trader, these were very handy, and I'd have them all around my screen because we're just humans, right? And it's very difficult to remember things. That's why, as much as I mock my wife for having a list for anything she does, she's got a list. Everything. There's a list for everything. Things she needs to do for the week, things that she needs to shop, everything's on a list because you do one thing, you forget about something else. So now take a Post-it note and put it on your screen. Friday's lows are now new generational lows, meaning you're never going to go below them. Now, I know that sounds silly, but this is how we've stayed bullish since April 9th. Every time we've pulled back, we've said, okay, those are new generational lows until they break, and we never break down. And that's how we remain bullish on the Qs all the way to 10,1040 in 2028. Now, again, is this commentary worth your time? No, it's not, because I'm going to show you trades that you take every day. You don't need to own stocks. You don't need to swing trade. You don't need to do options. You certainly don't need to do call spreads, which are awful. You don't want to sell puts, even though most puts are going to expire worthless, and selling puts in a bull market is a no-brainer, but you're taking large risk for small rewards. Or you just do what we do. We take the high quality trades based on earnings reports and volume weighted average price, and you take some of that money and you bet against the Yankees and you buy the Qs. And that's been what I've been doing now for quite some time. So let's go over what we did today. Now, Before we go any further, take the Post-it note, right? Put it on your screen, right? Now, first of all, we have a lot to talk about, right? Friday was the best day of. Sorry, Thursday was decent. Friday was by far the best trading day of the year because I like shorting and I was prepared. And you had an earnings reversal on the number one stock on the planet, which was Apple, which solidified the permission slip that you got from your mom to actually stay short and then short again into the close. Now, here's where we're at. Sell-offs into the close on a Friday, usually there's some residual sellers, and we do have a weak Monday, if not sometimes a pretty bad Monday, but not in this market. This market doesn't go down. So when it does go have a weird anomaly, and again, it was a news-driven bullshit sell-off, means nothing. Nobody cares about tariffs. Nobody cares about jobs numbers. Nobody cares about the beige book. Nobody cares about economic slowdowns or what you think is going to happen. They've been talking about a recession since 2021. Right. Something bond market. We're running out of wheat. We're running out of diesel. It's the same story all over again. And it'll be the same thing all the way up another 100% when the Dow's at 80,000 and the Qs are sitting here at 1,000. It's going to be the same story. So what I do is I take high quality day trades and then I take some of that money and I bet against the Yankees and I buy the Qs. And that strategy has been awesome. So let's go through some of the trades today. So obviously you're not short the Qs, right? So we don't need to talk about this, right? And by the way, you see this move right here, this parabolic move out of the open? Why did that happen? That was all the morons, and I speak affectionately towards these people because I used to be one. So the morons, right, where they thought rational thought would work. Thursday weak, Friday sell off, usually Monday is weak. That doesn't work anymore because the market doesn't go down, right? So this monster parabolic move brought to you on the backs of the broken souls and all the people that we're taking money from. So as the former president of the Bear Foundation of America, I resigned 3 or 4 years ago. I was a traveling secretary for a couple of months. Man, I don't even want to bother with that now. This is the move where the shorters, because they're so stupid, right, that they reloaded. They're like, oh my God, I can't believe I held this short over the weekend. What was I thinking? Well, I'm going to add to it. So if we sell off at the open, I'm going to be able to make my money back. And the reason the market never goes down is because of that. The shorters will add to their position, trying to make some of that money back on a pullback. And that pullback, it happened. It came and went. Now there might not be another one for 6 weeks because that's been the trend. One sell-off, then we go up for 6 weeks straight, which really does make sense because August is usually a bullish month. The middle of September is where we get a little bearishness. But the next time we have any bearishness, the Qs will be up another 10% from here, and then they'll pull back, and the bears will think they're onto something, and then we rally again all the way to probably 1,000 on the Qs within, easily 2.5 years. But again, why am I even having this conversation? I don't know. I just want to make sure that nobody's shorting the Qs. Don't think about it. Don't bother. There'll be a day where you could short the Qs, maybe, or maybe not. So take the sticky pad, right? And I want you to take this number down. Tell your parents about it. Tell your kids about it, your cousins, your uncles. You just witnessed new generational lows for the market. Right here. 55168. So unless the Qs are below that price, don't short them. Don't try to play pullbacks. Don't do a trade that doesn't work. Do the trades that work every time. Let me show you a few. So this morning, as I put my members in front of the hottest stocks on the planet every morning, we were looking at Verb. And if you don't know about Verb, you should. And if you know me, you would know about Verb because we were all about this stock a couple of weeks ago, months ago. I know every stock, right? If it was a pump and dump once, I know about it, right? Verb's been a pump and dump several times, right? Here's the last 2 years of the chart. Here's the 2-year chart, right? Split adjusted, absolute dog shit, worthless piece of nothing. My favorite stock. I know it's worthless. I don't have any illusions or delusions. I know it's a worthless piece of garbage. But when the worthless piece of garbage is, and by the way, that's the theme of 2025, the dash for trash that continues and continues. There's one of these every day. Lately, there's been 5 or 6 to choose from. Today, there was 2. So Verb, right? Why is it in play? Well, what's the scam of the last couple of months? The scam of the last couple of months is mention that you're doing something that has a relation to the MicroStrategy idea. So you had SMR, which became Tron. You had SBET, which went parabolic. BMNR, ridiculous. So now what a company will do is, hey, let's wake our stock up. Let's just say that we're holding some cryptocurrency as a reserve, and our stock will go 10x. And that's the scam. But we know it's a scam. So let's participate in it, right? While the scam is being scammed, or while the getting is good, or while the pump is being pumped, let's enjoy it. Knowing well enough that this stock will inevitably roll over, break down, go to zero, and probably do another reverse split at some point. But that's somebody else's problem. We know that it's in play. How do I know it's in play? Look at it. Look at it, what it's doing this morning. Stock went from $12 to $22.50. Oh, man. Was I part of that? No. But it did pique my interest. I'm like, oh, Verb. I guess Verb is back. We started singing songs, Schoolhouse Rock. You remember Schoolhouse Rock? Verb, that's what's happening. You know what I'm talking about. Maybe you don't. But because I'm a technical analysis guy, right? And I say, this is how my thought process is. Damn, I really wish I was a part of that move. Oh, good, it's crashing. Now I could look to buy it again. When do I buy it? When it sets up that pattern that I love so much. What pattern is that? Guy in the back. Right. The faux show bro, VWAP break. Very good. I'm proud of you. Guy in the back finally raised his hand and knows the answer. Right. We wait for the proper setup to get involved in a stock that we know inevitably is going to zero. So we better be careful with what we're doing here. Great. Because you witnessed it, right? Stock went from 12 to 22.50, right back to 14 bucks. Choppa, 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 right? The faux show, bro, is when a stock breaks the low of the day, and then it comes back, and then it breaks the VWAP. So you see how it had a double bottom there, and then it tested it, then it broke, then it came back. So the market, as part of the market mechanics and the ebb and flow of the market tries to get, all those cliches of trading are real, shaking the trees, getting the weak hands out. That's what the faux show, bro, is all about. Stop hunting programs. So if you're long to trade and you're thinking, all right, if it breaks here, I'm going to have to dump it. Oh, good. They know you said that and you put your stop there. So it goes and gets those people. Then it comes back. Then it breaks the VWAP. Now, again, we were a little bit late to the trade, but look, our entry point was 1630 and the stock went to 1730, 1740. Sold a little bit. And then what happened? It rolled over and started to go down. You know what we did? Sold the rest. Instead of making a lot of money, we made a little bit. But then look what happened. It faux shows VWAP broed again. Bought it, 1622. This time it went to what? 17 and change. And then it rolled over again. Damn, I can't believe this thing's not taking off. We sold it again. And then look what it did. It faux show bros right under the VWAP. And guess what we did one more time? Bought it back. 1650. Rips to 18 and change. Sold. And then this time, there was no coming back. And we got out close to the 20s. And then when it rolled over and broke back under 19, broke back under 19, we got out. And then since I sold it, you've actually had one more opportunity to buy it, two more opportunities, three opportunities to buy it. And all the while that we're trading the stock, I want to remind everybody that this stock inevitably will be at zero. So we play this game because we know when the coast is clear to trade a stock that we know is going to zero. But it's not going to go to zero with us in it because we use proper stops and proper discipline, and we isolate the proper prices. For instance, if anybody's still long the Verb, where do you think your stops are going to be? You got it. You got it. Tight stop right at the breakout, which is like $18, $18.25. Your second stop would be the VWAP. And if you're crazy, you're going to let it breathe all the way down to 1650, but you're not going to let it break 1650 because there's an air pocket and inevitably the stock's going to go to zero. So you play the game, and that game is VWAP trading. So let me show you the other one we traded. And this one was perfect. Low risk, massive reward. Low risk, massive reward. Low risk, massive reward. That's where you want to be in the game. You want to take trades where there's low risk to medium, large, and massive rewards. And with these pump and dump piece of shit stocks, you just don't know which one's the one that's going to go 20x, 100x, like your Opens, your Lucids, and whatever dog shit stock that we've been trading lately. But they're all been fantastic. So our other one was PBM. What is it? I don't know. I dig the name of the company, right? PBM. Look at the name of the company. That's cool. They spelled science with a PSY. It was good enough for me to want to buy it, right? I don't need a reason. Oh, wait, then I had a reason. That's right. So let's go through it. So every morning when you're joining me, the illusion, right, or the delusion, and if you're on the internet as much as I am and, getting enough spam emails, I don't even have to go look. I will check my spam folder later. I guarantee you I've got at least 7 emails telling me that some Discord room alerted their members to this stock at the low of the day, and they all sold it at the high of the day. Geniuses! Phenomenal! The internet always buys low, also sells it all at the top, and they knew it before anybody. Now, I'm not going to bullshit you. I don't need to be the first one in or the second one in. I could be the 9th one in because I wait for a proper setup. So I look at PBM. Hey, what's this thing? I don't know. Up huge, and now it's crashing. Good. So that crash provides us with faux show bros and VWAP breaks. Q's new highs, by the way, do not short the Q's. So here we've got a stock that never heard of in my life. Pulled up the symbol. The name of the company is Science Biomedical. Cool name. You see what they did there? Science with a PSY. Fancy. But then you go and say, hey, what's this? I don't know, but you broke VWAP here, rolled over. Man, this thing looks like it's going to zero. But on its way to zero, right, we get a fake out, shakeout, and you didn't get the breakout. But then right at the open, they tried to fake you out and shake you out, and then it broke back over the VWAP. Buy it. Faux show, bro. VWAP break. Now, again, I was a little early because I was staring at the stock as soon as the market opened up. I bought a little bit at the 472. And then when it broke the 489, hit that button a couple more times. I got myself a squeeze from 485, selling some at 5.25, selling some at 550. And look, once again, I'm not going to bullshit you. There was no reason at 583 to think this stock wasn't about to blast off to 685. Well, how come it didn't go? I don't know. I don't control the market, but what I do control is what I'm going to do. So the trader that loses money gets disappointed but doesn't do anything. I get disappointed and I immediately say, I'm going to get out because I know this stock is a pump and dump piece of shit going to zero, as most stocks are. But we make the money when it's makeable, right? And that's faux show, bro, VWAP breaks. So when you see a stock, I'm not buying this thing, it's up 300% already. What if it tanks? What if it does? You're not going to be in the stock when it tanks. You're going to sell it. Because if you're a VWAP trader and you're buying because of VWAP and you take some profit, where do you think your last stop is going to be? VWAP. So when it broke back under the VWAP, sure, we're a little disappointed, but we're not going to lose. Oh, that's disappointing. I'm just going to watch it go to zero. No, you're going to hit the button again, and you're going to get out of its way and let it go to zero with the new bag holders that were created today on Science Biomedical, because 3 days from now, the stock will probably be 8 cents and then zero. And that's how we trade. And every day, I put people in front of these stocks and we navigate them better than anybody can do it, because we know exactly what we're doing. We know exactly what we're trading. And we know, this isn't a guess, we know for a fact that 95% of these pump and dump piece of shit stocks are going to go to zero. So why would you even entertain the idea of hanging in there with it if it's breaking back below VWAP and breaking prices that you know you should be selling it? Because most traders say, oh man, I probably should have sold the rest. Yeah, you should have. We don't should have here. We do things. There ain't no should have. You probably should try to not use that word. Try it. Try to go 3 days without using the word should, especially in our industry. Because every freaking 5 minutes there's a should. Try to avoid the shoulds. How about the do's? Do something about it, right? So phenomenal action today, right? And there's the two pump and dumps. Don't own them anymore. Out of the Verb, out of the PBM. We had our fun. Now, bread and butter trades. Anybody heard of Wayfair, right? They sell closets and they also have a child. I don't know if you heard the rumor. Apparently, this was the company that Hillary Clinton was using to transport the kidnapped children around the world in cabinets. That is a real conspiracy theory. I'm not making that up, even though it sounds like I just made that up. That's a real story. That Wayfair was in cahoots with child trafficking, and they were selling kids along with the cabinets, right? Anyway, doesn't matter. By the way, Q's new highs, don't short the Q's. So when we come in, we say what? Hey, remember that child trafficking company, Wayfair, that pretends to sell cabinets? Yes. Well, they reported earnings. Oh, the stock is up. Oh, what are we thinking about doing? Shorting it. That's it. So that's your premise, right? You don't care about child trafficking. You don't care about what they make or don't make and how much money they do or whatever. Doesn't matter. You're looking to play the trade that works every time. And what is that trade? Earnings fades through VWAP on stocks that were gapped up, right? So let's do the checklist. Guy in the back, you still with me? Did they report earnings? Yes. Are they gapped up? Yes. What's our default? Look to short it. So now the question is when? You've got your idea. You've got your gap. And now you have your default trade. We short stocks that are gapped up that report earnings when they break VWAP. Did it? Yes. Right at the open. Bang! We're short 72.60. Stock goes to 71. You know what that is? Days pay. And then it starts to rally. So just like a long trade that you know is going to zero, you're not going to stay short a stock that breaks back over the VWAP. So we were forced to cover, and it was a decent cover, ripped almost back to the highs of the day. But then look what we noticed. It never did break the highs of the day. And then it starts to roll over again. What do we do there, guy in the back? Yes. Look at you. Very good. You shorted again. Now, here's why this trade was better than the first one. Now, you're doing something that's illegal, shorting stocks, right? It's illegal basically in 2025. You're committing like a fucking crime to be a shorter in this market, right? You are. But you got to take that chance because the setup has proven to work, right? I ruined the surprise. So let me get rid of these red lines. And this is what I'm going to do for you guys on August 16th. It's a Saturday. So if you guys are not doing anything, because I have no friends and no life, on a Saturday, August 16th at 12 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, I'm going to gather here and I'm going to go over the last, I think there's about 36 trades so far in a row that have worked based on this setup. And since 2023, we haven't had one loss. And since 2007, it's about an 80% win rate, which is unbelievable. What's most unbelievable is the streak that we're on right now. We haven't had a loss on this setup in over 3 years. And that's incredible. It's even, I sound foolish saying it out loud, but I could legitimately prove that every single trade, and again, not every trade I've taken. If you guys remember, a year ago tomorrow is the worst trade I've had of my career. You want to talk about that for a second? I'll talk about it. A year ago tomorrow, whoever they are that control the world, came up with some idea to crash the market. You guys remember the yen carry trade? Of course you don't remember it because it was a bunch of bullshit. But the VIX went up more so that night than ever in the history of ever. And I was on the wrong side of the trade. And I legitimately didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to do. And I'll be digging out of that hole for quite some time. That's how bad the trade was. And it's not a VWAP trade. It wasn't an earnings reversal. And since that day, a year ago, I vowed now to try to do less and less of anything else except a trade that works every time. And I'm digging myself out of that hole. Anyway, so a year ago today, and that's why this market, if you realize, not only did we crash once, we crashed 2.5 times over a 250-day period. The idea of us crashing again is remote. And since the May 12th power gap, as I've been explaining, it's very difficult for the market to gap up because on May 12th, it trapped all the shorts and all the people that were looking to buy this market got left on the wrong side of the market, and we've been ripping ever since. All right, so let's talk about this Wayfair trade. So what's our default? We look to short gapped up stocks that report earnings because there's going to be profit taking. It's called the fade. Fade, it's crazy. It's been working since forever. Kind of showed me this trade in 1987. I'll be damned if you find a trade better than that. But we have found a trade better than that, Chris. Here's the thing. Back in my younger days, I would wait for the stock to break the 930 area, kind of like that low, and I would short it here, looking for the follow through. Now that we trade VWAP and we know how important it is, we get a head start on a trade that has been working since, I guess, let's call it 1996 when I started trading, because gap fades generally work. And let me explain that for a second here. The reason the gap fade works is, let's say you're the guy or you're the fund that gambled on Wayfair and you've been stocking it up, right? You've been buying this whole time. Woo, look at you. Look at you. You're in from 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60, 65, 70. And you held into the earnings because you were up so huge on the trade. What are you going to do today? You're going to chickadee ching. You're going to cash out of some of it, right? Look at this massive trade you're in. So now you held through the earnings. The stock's gapped up. Rational thought, which doesn't play out all the time, but rational thought, there's going to be some profit taking on this earnings report because of this monstrous move. Boom. So there's your premise again, right? That's your idea. So now you fast forward to what we're looking at today. When are those profit takers going to show up? VWAP break. But a lot of buyers showed up. You had to cover your short. But now on the rollover, got short again. And what was nice about this trade is that now that it gave us some more data, you're shorting here. You're using the top of the candles as you're out, quickly identifying risk, right? And I'll show you all this stuff on the 16th, where to place your stops, tops of those candles, right? And then you rolled over. And this time, when it got to that price, we're already starting to cover. Now, you see the orange line? You see it? More often than not, and again, that's all we trade, what happens most of the time? Most of the time, when you roll over and you start breaking down, most of the time you're going to reversion. That's what this VWAP trading is all about, reversion to the mean. You're going to revert back to prior day VWAP. Well, how come it didn't go there this time? I don't know. That doesn't mean you didn't make any money, because if you're shorting something at 72.50 and it gets back to the lows of the day, what are you doing there? You're taking some money off the table. And then it breaks down. And then it goes to what? $69. You love whole numbers. And you cover some there. But once it broke 70, you had to be thinking 67.50, because generally $70 stocks trade in 2.5 point increments. The prior day VWAP was waiting for us down there at 66.80. So I'm thinking at least 67.50, but then it makes a U-turn. And on that turn, if you can believe it, and you should, my stop was the bottom of that candle. It specifically went there and got me personally, only to roll over, and I got a little pissed off. But again, I got out of my short because it broke back above where I covered some. So wherever I cover on the way down is where I use stops on the way back up. And, again, I left some money on the table, but look at what happened. So you went from thinking short, I hate the stock, it's going to zero, and then it tells you something different. It tells you you had your moment. And then it broke over the price where I covered, and it broke the VWAP. What do you think you're doing there? Guy in the back, you. So the whole morning we did one short, two short. You want to be shorting the stock anymore? Of course not. So against every fiber of my being, because I despise this stock, and again, kind of why there's certain stocks I just don't condone. I had to buy it. You know why? Because I was in the ebb and flow. Two shorts. Okay, the shorts had their time. We know shorting is illegal and you're going to die. So you know what? I might as well punish the people that don't know what they're doing. And I bought the stock at 71.25 and it goes to 72.25 and I made myself a buck. I'm not in it anymore. But look, that's the premise of all of this that we do together on a daily basis. You could be thinking all kinds of things. Let the VWAP and the chart pattern recognition that I bestow upon you validate your idea. So let's go. AXSM. Anybody heard of this one? AXSM. Used to be a pump and dump biotech. This thing actually became a real boy and has been a real stock ever since. Why are we looking at today? Reported earnings. Let's go through the checklist. Hey, what's this stock? I don't know. Who cares? Biotech, doesn't matter. Did they report earnings? They did. Is it gapped up? Certainly is. What do we do with gapped up stocks that are breaking VWAP? Short them. Look at this trade. So what was wonderful about this trade, and I don't use that word too often, wonderful. What was wonderful about this trade was the limited risk and massive reward. So if you're shorting VWAP right there, right, your entry point is 108.35. You see the high of the day, which was the only candle that we could talk about because there was nothing else going on. There was nothing else to talk about. You had one stop. And again, it's not about whether this trade worked or not. If you could identify a risk reward, and the reward is the orange line, what's the orange line? The orange line is the reversion tool that we use called multiple time frame VWAP, also known as anchored VWAP and multiple time frame VWAP, brought to you by Brian Shannon, the VWAP, what do we want to call him now? The VWAP God, I guess. What I have my VWAP anchored to is just prior days worth of data. And I find that to be quite enough to navigate my trading, right? So when you do get a blue line break on a VWAP earnings report, you go that direction. Look how quickly you got to the orange line. That's a 6-point trade. 100 shares. You're up 6 points before you sneeze. And when you get through the orange line, you generally get a lot more out of it because that is then a 1-minute multi-day VWAP reversal. And you know what? I'm in a singing mood. So let's go. Because if you don't know the VWAP reversal song, let's sing it. To the tune of 10 Little Indians. Let me see if I can find it. 10 Little Indians. Here you go. You ready? Let's see if this is a good version. Yeah, I don't like this version.
1 little, 2 little,
there it is.
3 little Indians.
1 minute multi-day VWAP reversal. 1 minute multi-day VWAP reversal. The only trade you ever have to take. One more time. 1 minute multi-day VWAP reversal. 1 minute multi-day VWAP reversal. 1 minute multi-day VWAP reversal. The only trade you ever have to take. So here you go. Here's a stock that I haven't traded in 8 years. Seriously. I saw it on the list. They reported earnings. Look at this monster trade. 1 minute multi-day VWAP reversal. Now again, nobody's shorting it at 108 and covering it all at 96. You short it at 108, you're done with most of the trade, at least 50% when you get that here. This is your bread and butter. Blue line to the orange line, we call it. Today's VWAP to prior day VWAP, you're already winning. Then you got the reversal. Phenomenal. And then you got some follow through. Now check this out. Guy in the back. You're loving this, right? So if you just heard my commentary, all right, we're crushing AXSM. Oh, this is a great short. What's going to happen? 2 hours later, it's over, right? You made your money. So now remember the Wayfair trade. We had our fun with it once. We had our fun with it twice. And then what happened? It became a long because shorting is illegal, right? Shorting is short-lived and you're going to die. 9 out of 10 stocks right now are just ripping higher or at least ripping to the point where the shorts have to cover and then they roll over. But it's very, very difficult. You shouldn't even dream of staying short, especially if you're shorting something near the open. The idea of staying short from 9:30 to 4, that's absurd. Doesn't even exist. Even on Friday, there was a point where you had to cover the Qs when they broke 555 or 556. Granted, you had to get short again, but this market does not allow you to stay short for any extended period of time. You must realize that. And you can embrace it by taking advantage of the 1 minute multi-day VWAP reversal. And then, hey, maybe you never heard of AXSM, but you factor in the idea that, oh, look, the shorts had their way with this. And then shorting is short-lived and they're going to die, not you. And if they're not smart enough to realize that you don't want to stay short stocks when they break back over the VWAP, let alone the prior day VWAP, they deserve to lose their money. So buy it at 101 and make yourself a couple of points. All right, there's more. So you guys see the stock in the corner right there? APLD. Why are we watching it? You with the shirt. Why are we watching APLD? No, the other guy. Right. They reported earnings 2 days ago. So we keep an eye on stocks that were active. You guys see APLD on earnings day? The thing was on fire. This is 4 days ago, right? You had a faux show, bro, earnings report break, right? And then you had faux show, bro, rippage. Stock has been on fire for the last couple of days. So yeah, there's the faux show, bro, VWAP break. The stock was $10. It went up went basically to 50% move. Stock's been in play. We trade stocks that are in play. More volume, more better. So look at this wonderful trade. Oh my freaking God. Talk to me about it. Oh, I will. You see the orange line? You guys understand what the faux show bro is now. The faux show bro, market's trying to fake people out, shake them out, and then break out. Fake out, shake out, break out. Faux show bro. And the reason that this was pretty much my favorite trade of the day, really, because it shows you what I call the rigging of the market. I'm not here to debate with you. The market's rigged. These are pre-programmed events that we're witnessing. It's all pre-programmed. The economic data that Trump fired the guy about, that economic data, everybody knew the numbers. It's all fugazi. Him firing the guy about some bullshit numbers, they're all bullshit numbers. That's why we're living in the most bizarre time to be a human. Everything's bullshit. You just choose what you want to believe in, and that's why VWAP's the only truth left anywhere. Because every story on the internet is fabricated. Even now, videos are fabricated. Everything's AI. You cannot believe your own eyes. This is the last bastion of hope in the world, in this universe or any universe. VWAP will not lie to you because math can't lie. But that's part of the rigging. So the market tries to get people to sell. Oh, breaking lows. And then it faux shows. You think it's a coincidence it held the orange line to the penny? Boom, boom. Then it starts to rally. It's not a coincidence. That's the rigging of the market. We have the rigging. And if you follow the rigging of the market, or for the other term that everybody gets bent about, the manipulation of the market, because it is. I'm not here to debate with you, Jerry. It's not a debate. The market's rigged and manipulated. We all know that. But when you watch VWAP, you actually see the rigging and the manipulation. And for the first time, you get to participate in the rigging and the manipulation as the manipulator, not the manipulated. You follow? And you do this every day. And suddenly you look up, you got no hair, you've been sitting in this chair for 20 years, you got no friends, you got no life, but you're making money every day. You'll find new friends. But wait, there's more. Well, is there more? I don't even know. Was there more? No, I didn't do any. What we got? NVTS, Tron, TG, the W. Well, I didn't trade. There was the on semiconductor. All right. Now, this one needs to be talked about because this is the anomaly. Kenny, what the hell's going on with the stock? Why is it going down? I don't know. I'm shocked. But the difference between me now and the difference between me when I was a loser trader, right? It was I would remain shocked and not do anything about it. Man, this is pretty shocking. This is getting pretty bad. Oh my God, maybe I shouldn't be in this trade. No. Because I came in today, I saw On Semiconductor reported earnings, checklist, right? Let's go through the checklist. They reported earnings, right? The stock popped, and then it dropped, right? Now, if you look at On Semiconductor, right? It closed 56.82, opened at 54. That's officially a gap down on an earnings report in a bull market. What am I thinking about doing? Buying it, right? So I'm sitting here and I'm waiting for a reason to buy, but it's rolling over, breaking the lows. Is there a reason to buy that? No. So I'm sitting there going, man, I'm surprised this thing's going down. Am I buying it? No, because it's not telling me to buy it, right? And then finally over here, right? Again, stocks pick the bottom. You don't pick a bottom. You just let it pick a bottom. And then it starts to rally, right? And then consolidates. So right here, I was waiting to see if it held, and it didn't. So once again, I didn't buy it. Now, the ironic part of this trade was that it's a pretty damn good setup for the short. There it is. But because my default is to look to buy stocks that are gapped down, what did I do here? I didn't do anything, except for just a little while ago, I nibbled on a long trade, and it didn't work. Now, did I just break my streak of earnings reports that are breaking VWAP for winning trade? Absolutely not. Didn't break VWAP. But I tried to get a little head start because when it came out of the bottom range, I bought it right here. And I top ticked it like a fucking champ, right? And then it rolls over. And you know what I said? Wow, that's disappointing. Sold to you. You take your 20-cent loss on your 300 shares, it's $60. And didn't work. So now I'm back to stalking it. I like the fact that it held 50. But, again, I'm kind of surprised. Stock going down in the semiconductor arena in this market? Man, those numbers must be really bad. Or they're just getting the seller out of the way. And once they're done, they'll faux show bro this, and this thing will be at $52 sometime today or even tomorrow. So I'm keeping an eye on it. This is my only loss for the day. And that's because again, normally I want to see it come out of the bottom range, hit the VWAP, not break, and then break it on the next move, kind of like what APLD did. Faux show it, break it, come back to test it, then rally. And when the trade doesn't set up according to what I make money on, I just don't pick the trade because there's plenty to do. And again, as a day trader, and I'm sorry about my opening commentary talking about direction of the market, again, I just wanted to make sure nobody was shorting the Qs today because that one sell-off on Friday probably would be it for the year. I know the guy in the back. I know, I'm only kidding. There probably will be 3 sell-offs this year. Maybe. I'll give you 3. How about that? Is that cool? But that's all you're getting on our way to 700. And again, listen, I've been a victim to the bull market most of my life because I'm a bear. I was born into bearishness. I worked at the worst boiler rooms ever. I was jaded right from day one. I really don't even like the stock market, right? It's just a pyramid scheme to me, but I've learned how to play it. You want to run it every day, all the time, and go up 97.7% of the time? Great. I ain't going to fight it anymore. I'm not going to be a hero. Make money on that Friday because that was the greatest trade of the year. And let me show you that trade, by the way. That was Apple short on Friday. And Apple short today was a beautiful follow through as well, which is kind of odd. But look at this beautiful trade on Friday, my friends. This is as good as it gets. And it doesn't get any better, right? So here's the activity. Earnings report comes out. Whee! Everybody loves Apple. 217. By the way, part of the rigging, if you haven't noticed, half numbers and whole numbers, right? And again, let me just take a moment to breathe this in right here. You got the most popular stock on the planet, just reported earnings, in the most volatile moment a stock can possibly be. An aftermarket earnings release is the most volatile any stock will ever be. Pre-market's volatile, aftermarket's is the most volatile time because the liquidity dries up And here you have one of the most popular stocks on the planet, if not the most popular stock on the planet, reporting earnings, and yet it tags 217 to the penny, and that's where the sellers are? And you don't think it's rigged? Please. You thought Omar was a stoolie because of what Sosa said? You bought that line. So then you follow through the next day and look at this beautiful, wonderful trade. Because first you got the sellers are showing up because they're just taking profit. And you went back to prior day VWAP. Look at you, Apple, holding that prior day VWAP like it was pre-programmed. It was. And then it's just beating the hell out of the shorts that took a short too early, right? But then look what happens. The market opens up, and what does it do? It blows everybody out of the short, but it never breaks 217. And then what happens? It rolled over, broke the 1 minute, right? So go back to the default. Is Apple up on earnings? Yes. Am I looking to short it? Of course. Give me a reason to short it. How about a 1 minute multi-day pre-market low break? Sing the song 1 minute multi-day VWAP reversal for the best trade of the year. And it took the whole entire market down with it. That's why it was so awesome. So if you could sit here, and I hope you can, and be patient and hang with me every day, we get our crazy names to get the juices flowing in the pre-market, like your bullshit Verb stock, which was awesome, right? I didn't do as well. And by the way, if you're still in the Verb, fucking yeah. Wow. This thing does not want to die. Look at that. Another fake out, shake out, and this thing's still rocking. Unbelievable. My best trade of the day was the PBM because it was cheap and fast, like my ladies, right? Cheap and fast. My favorite type of trade. Get in, blast off, $4 stock, ripping $1. Awesome. Bang, got paid. Pretty much top ticked it, got stopped out on the way back down. Who cares, right? That's what we do. And that's all we do. So right now, this is by far the greatest trading market I've ever seen because of the amount of opportunity. You hear, by the way, Verb new highs. You hear legends of 1999 because it was legendary, because every schmuck was making money because all you had to do was bang your head on the keyboard. The market went up straight up every day for 18 months. It was kind of difficult to lose, unless you were shorting, of course. But this market dwarfs 1999 because now you have 7,000 more opportunities. And that's a real number. You've got about 7,000 stocks that have been created since 1999. There's just more to choose from. And they're all still doing the same thing almost every day. And welcome to trading. And this is it. This is the greatest trading I have ever seen. And I hope it never ends. And if the market never wants to go down, fine. Don't be the angry guy like I used to be. Oh, this market's bullshit. It can't keep going up every day. It can. And it will. And now you've got new generational lows, which was just Friday. And the reason that we went parabolic out of the open, that used to be me getting my ass kicked. The sellers, that Friday was something. Oh, we're definitely going to be crashing on Monday. This move's bullshit. I'm just going to sell short at the open. We're going to roll over. Sure we are. Right in your face. And then what the market do? It spent about an hour trying to convince you it was going to go down just to rip in your face. Stop shorting. If you're going to short something, remember, it has to be a earnings reversal. And even those are short-lived and you're going to die. Because Wayfair, I thought the stock would be down 10 points by now, and it's still up 7. There's no reason. I'm actually mortified that this trade didn't get to the orange line and break down. I was 100% convinced we were going to make a lot of money on this short today. And even this piece of garbage doesn't want to go down. It's insane. It's insane. right? And just like, what was the other one I just showed you, APLD, just nothing wants to stay down. And if they don't want to die, everything remains a buy. And it's the greatest time to be a trader. And I hope you guys are enjoying it. And just try not. Oh, I got a trade for you. Hang on. SRPT. Speaking of, oh no! Oh man. Well, I'm not buying it. It was on my list today because I don't know if you guys know about SRPT. It's a notorious pump and dump, even from when I was a kid. This thing's been around for 30 years. Thing's been pumped and dumped. It's amazing, actually, how many times it's been pumped and dumped. But this last dump, it was a news-driven dump, and then they came out with some news last week that the negative article that was written, or whatever the story was, right? They flipped it on its head again, and they said it's not as bad as they thought. And the stock had a pretty big gap. They sold the gap off, and I was waiting for a comeback today, and I missed it. So the reason I'm not buying this thing, right? First of all, show, there's a VWAP, bro. I need to be in the stock here. Or at least the last decent price is a 930 high break, it was right there. So I'm not chasing this stock. Now, if it consolidates up here and, makes another move, maybe I'm interested. But that's, again, now I'm looking at the Verb, as I just left 6 points on the table on this trade. Holy crap. And it doesn't take a lot for me to talk myself out of putting trades on. And when I see missed opportunities, that's one less trade that I do today now. So I left too much money on the table on Verb. I already missed the SRPT. There was a couple other trades I missed. I didn't do as well as I should have on the Wayfair. And there's a point where you got to just say to yourself, what am I doing here? I'm trying to be a consistent day trader and making a living. Did I do my job today? I certainly did. Do I need to keep pushing? I certainly don't. So people in a casino, right? Proper casino, what do? If you win, you got to take money off the table, put it in your pocket. Now you're playing with house money, right? And sometimes you get a little loosey-goosey with the house money. Don't do that here, right? You got your money in your hand, right? Now people tend to get a little loosey-goosey. All right, I'm up $800 for today. All right, I can risk 300. Why? You should become more disciplined. Just because you're sitting here with a nice day doesn't mean you should give money back. Oh, I'm sorry. Here's my other trade, TGTX. Yeah. Which actually I kind of dig in it now because I sold this one and now I came back to where I bought it. So again, same scenario. Earnings report, gap down stock, tries to break VWAP, doesn't, consolidates, breaks the VWAP. I'm a buyer here, sold it here, got stopped out at 30. And, now little faux show bro action right there. I'm stalking it. I made money on it once. Usually I'll keep an eye on something that I made money. I'm still stalking this on around $50. But let me tell you a little bit about what we're going to be doing next, right? So get familiar with what we're doing. I'll be doing this midday show probably forever now. The more time I'm on air, the better. I love explaining this stuff. And you will start to see that it really is the same thing over and over again. There's 6 varieties of VWAP trading. And on August 16th, I'm going to go through all 6 of them when the market's closed. So we'll have a chance to, talk slower, not in the middle of trying to, I'm always looking for ideas while I'm trying to have these conversations with you. I'm always stalking trades. So on a Saturday, it'll be a nice relaxed environment. I'll go over where you're supposed to buy them, how to isolate the ideas, which stocks to look at, and how to identify the risk reward and how to identify where you're buying. And I always prepare to be a loser first, maybe because I'm pessimistic. I buy something, I place my stops first, and then I start to work the trade. And I'll go through that for 2 hours. We'll have a chance to take some questions. And if we have time, I'll even show you how to parlay all these trades that I do into option trades, because that's where you start making real money. Like an Apple trade on a Friday earnings reversal. You're not shorting Apple. I mean, you were, but the puts were the play. You did 300% in, no joke, 15 minutes. It was awesome. And that's my story, and I'm going to stick to it. So I'm sorry to bore you with what I think is going to happen with the market over the next 3 months, 6 months, 9 months. It's irrelevant. Kind of is irrelevant, right? I think we all understand this market's going higher, right? Right? And maybe you think it's a little tongue-in-cheek to think that Friday's low might be new generational lows. It is, until it proves us wrong. And that's how you remain a consistent trader. You have your idea until the market tells you otherwise. And that, especially with the QQQ long trade, my target is another 500 points from here in just 3 years. I literally think we're going to get there before. So until we start breaking generational lows and prior lows, and every day I guide you through this, I'll update you on some of these. Again, I don't do too many swing trades, but right now my one swing trade that I've been in pretty much my whole life is Palantir. Does anybody think the stock's not going to 250? If you do, sell it right now. If you don't, they're reporting earnings tonight. It's going to be a blowout quarter. You know it is, right? Government contracts, stock probably is at 180 tonight. Now, that's speculation. Tomorrow, we'll trade it according. And again, here's the crazy thing. I think the stock's legitimately going to $250 easy. But if it's gapped up tomorrow and it breaks VWAP, I will short it hard, because that's the trade. Doesn't affect where the stock's going to be 3 months from now or 6 months from now. Tomorrow, Palantir gaps up, breaks VWAP, I'm going to look to short it, especially because I own it. It's kind of like a hedge. All right? And if you are thinking about gambling, I'm with you. I think the stock opens up at 180 tomorrow, and I don't think it's going to come back. I think we're going to see 250 before the year's over. So again, you want to pay $10 for a gamble? I don't. Because look what you got to do here. Let's say you're buying a 160. I wouldn't buy the 160s. I'd pay 11. Let's say you buy the 157.50 for 11. You need the stock to go up 10 points just to break even. Why bother? Right? I'd rather just trade it tomorrow. Hopefully we get a chance to buy it. Or, maybe it does gap up and roll over and we crush it. Right? A lot of people didn't think Apple was going to roll over the way it did on Friday. So lots to look forward to. Good to meet you if this was your first time. My name's Kenny Glick. This is what I've been doing since the fetus. No joke. I've been trading before I was even born. Because I came out of the womb. My dad just, bought a mutual fund for me. So it's been a while. All right. You guys have a great rest of the day, and I will see you in cyberspace. And hopefully I'll see you August 16th. And we'll make a date. All right. Be good, y'all.